Okay. Evening, everyone. Welcome to the Executive Committee meeting for CB11. My name is Xavier Santiago. I'm the chair of this committee. The meeting is officially called to order at 6:35 p.m. Tonight, we are joined by Angel Mescane, the staff liaison to our committee. In order to conduct an efficient meeting, let's observe a few ground rules. 1, no one may speak until granted the floor. 2, CB11 members, if you have a question about board business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand in Zoom or here in the room and wait to be recognized. 3, members should not engage in a back and forth discussion. The chair will recognize the next person to speak. 4, the chat function should not be used for CB11 business or questions about agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on the record when recognized. 5, when a member is given the floor to speak, I will identify you and you may unmute yourself or you may speak when granted the floor. 6, please keep your questions and comments succinct and germane to the discussions. And with that, we will now take attendance by roll call.
Members, when I call your name, please answer present. Jose Altamirano.
Present.
Aden Bria. Rosa Diaz.
Present.
Jessica Elliott. Sage Mason.
Present.
Nelson Orama.
Present.
Asher Rodriguez.
Present.
Xavier Santiago.
Present.
Isaac Scott. Present. Chris Lampone. Anne-Marie Vasquez. Jason Villanueva. Michelle Wilshire Clement.
Okay. The agenda for tonight's meeting was distributed ahead of time by the board office and was posted online. If there are no objections, we'll adopt the agenda as stated. Committee members, if you object to adopting the agenda, you may raise your hand to be recognized. Okay, seeing no hands raised, the agenda for tonight's meeting is adopted. The minutes from our last meeting were distributed to committee members ahead of time by the board office. If there are no objections, we will adopt the minutes from that meeting. Committee members, if you object to adopting the minutes, you may raise your hand to be recognized. Seeing no objections, the minutes from our last meeting are adopted and will be posted on our website. The minutes are going to be taken by myself, so please bear with me because I will try to take them live. And I'll move on into the rest of our agenda. And any announcements here?
Can I make a quick announcement?
Yes, go ahead.
So, District 4, we're having our welcome back to all the kiddos and everyone is invited on Saturday, September 27th, starting at 10 a.m. Community Board 11 is tabling, and this is going to be at PS 007 in 160 East, 120th Street between Lexington and 3rd Avenue. And on the same day, East Harlem Community Partnership, in collaboration with the East Harlem Code, is having on the same Saturday, September 27th, from 11 to 3 p.m. at Bethel Gospel Assembly in 2 East 120th Street. We're having preparation, like be ready and what do you need to have in your book bag. Book bag is gonna be available. You can learn about CPR, learn how to make the best go bag ever, financial preparedness, stop the bleed, youth preparedness. Also, we're having a El Barrio College Fair on Wednesday, October 29th at East Harlem Community Partnership, which everyone knows, 71 East, 111th Street, Park Avenue and Madison Avenue from 5 to 7 p.m. Please invite all high schoolers that you may know. And lastly, MASA, they are providing diapers, hygiene supplies distribution on Thursday, September 25th from 10 to 12 p.m. at East Harlem Community Partnership location, which is 71 East, 111th Street. So everyone is welcome to join. Thank you.
Great. Would you mind passing those down? We have a moment. Any other announcements? We had Borough Board this morning, around about 11 or so. We are having this weekend. Thank you for NIAP for also supporting at the African American Day Parade and breakfast as that will be coming up. So if you'd like to march in the parade and go to the breakfast, please reach out to the Borough President's office, and I and Whitaker can also connect you. And we marched in it last year. It'd be good to have a contingent show up again this year. Also too, is Hispanic Heritage Month. The BP's office is having an event. We will submit that. I believe it's Porphyry is going to be sending everything around to get the Sugar Hill Museum. So stay tuned, you guys, for that as well. Are there any other announcements? All right, now we'll move on to presentations and discussions. First is our liquor licenses here. I will ask, since Anne-Marie is not here, that Adam, if you can give any background on it. But the first one is LGBT 116 LLC doing business for Bodega Paradise. New application for a full liquor license for a restaurant located at 1637 Park Avenue, stores 1 and 2. So it's in zip code 129, near 16th Street. Adam?
The applicant online?
They were invited, I don't know them, their name, but
I can speak for them.
Are you the applicant?
Yeah, so, yeah.
Well, and
Well, I'm not the applicant myself, but
are you a representative?
yeah, I'm gonna represent it tonight.
Did they consent to your representation?
Yes.
Okay, then go ahead.
So,
Well, you know what? Just because we don't have a fact that you are representing him,
Isn't this?
right, well, let me just finish. No, it's okay. Speak as a resident. Don't
That's
speak
good.
as a representative.
all right, that's there.
Okay,
on my
go ahead.
side. Because I thought that I was gonna like maybe sort of do it that way anyway. But, so normally I don't get involved in liquor license issues. But there were some people on the board and in the community, and things had gotten messy, and they wanted, to see if I could assist. So the first thing I had to do was see the place and find out some things. So I found out some things that I didn't like, and I found out things that I liked. One of the things that I didn't like is that I learned that there was an incident where our deputy speaker was disrespected. So that kind of like made me say, I'm not gonna tolerate that. I don't tolerate disrespect to anybody, but especially women, and especially the deputy speaker. So they recognized that was, it wasn't the owner or, the core people, but it was a person that they had contracted, and I can't make excuses for it, but it has to be rectified. And so they agreed that that would be rectified. Then the second thing is that the more I learned about what they were trying to do, or what they might have done in the past, I felt that they weren't quite understanding, the law on this. And even though legally they might have been acting properly according to the law also says that the community and the community board and the SLA, they can consider community sentiment. And so if the community doesn't want it for whatever reason, they can say no. So it's really all about perception. But the background I do have, I have background in litigating liquor license issues. I consulted many trendy establishments, and I saw the potential in this, establishment. I saw its future. And I think that what they can offer, would really be a plus for this community. Now, what I'm suggesting, and that letter goes into more detail, that the executive committee pass tonight, let it go to the full board. They're gonna present something like a revised presentation, but before that, I want, they agreed, the owner, the manager, Councilwoman Diana Ayala, certain community members, that we sort of get into a discussion about what they would like to see. And but they've been totally agreeable to my suggestions, and that letter really explains a lot. And so rather than to be lengthy now, I think if the committee could just say, what, let's let it go to the full board. But prior to that, there will be a meeting, and let it be decided then. So that's pretty much, do you have any questions? I think I might be able to answer some.
All right, well, I just wanted to give him the opportunity to speak first. Now, I guess I'll provide some background. Unless you want to say something first.
No, you do, and I'll follow you up.
The applicant's rep on the application is also online. Mr.
Okay, well, I'll defer to you. Would you like them to speak first?
Yes, I would like them to speak.
Okay.
In regards to this. Where is the applicant?
It's Harris, Glenn Harris.
All right. Jen Harris, you're permitted to speak. You'll have to unmute yourself. Jen Harris, can you hear us?
Yeah, Alexander Persis is on the application as well.
I could hear,
He just-
I could hear you, but she's on, but I don't know if she could hear you.
All right, she's unmuted.
Okay, there we go.
Go ahead. Jen Harris, do you want to speak to the application? I don't know if you can hear us at all, but Alexander, do you want to speak to the application since you're also on it?
She said she's trying to talk, but you can't hear her voice.
No, we see no activity on the mic going up and down.
Second. Said she's dialed in. Coming back in now, 1 second.
Okay. Do we want to just give some background while we wait?
Sure. Okay. So this applicant first came, don't hold me to when, but when they initially applied, and they presented it as a juice bar, a wellness place, and then like a lounge, at night. They actually were never approved by this board because when they came the first time, they, as is their right, they requested that they could be open until 4 a.m. But it's become a general practice of the licenses committee to ask new businesses to, at least for their first application, close a little bit
It
earlier.
says that she's muted. She says that she's
No.
dialed in as an attendee, but she's muted. She's just texting me right now.
Alex, can you just give me the zip code for the number she called in from? Because we just have her name. Yeah.
Let me
Give the
text her
zip
right
code.
now.
And I'll, so that way I know which one to activate.
929. Hold on. Give me your zip code.
Just the area code.
Yeah, the area.
It's
No,
six-
I meant to say area.
626-2834.
Ah, it's the other one. Okay. She should be able to unmute now. There you go.
Hi, good evening. Jen
All
Harris
right.
for Bodega Paradise. Thank you for your patience. I was muted. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you. Good evening. I believe there was somebody who wanted to speak first to give a little bit of context as to the applicant. First of all, good evening, everyone, and thank you for having us. And I'm happy to have them speak first, but just to introduce myself, Jen Harris from Resonator Services. We represent Bodega Paradise, and we were present at the meeting back on or about September 4th of 24, where we came to this board, provided the documentation. There was support for the applicant back then. And I believe it's to Mr. Julius's point, there was back and forth as to the applicant opening until 4 a.m., which is something they wanted because it is the permitted county hours. There was also back then a lot of talk. I was present, so I don't want to get too much into back then and what happened because we have to focus on cooperating now so we all get to the finish line, but I do think the context is important. So back then, the board members, although we provided a lot of support and we explained that the applicant is somebody who is experienced in this industry, particularly hospitality, as well as nightlife, we presented exhibits. Essentially, the tone was, well, we're not really interested in that because the prior licensee, I believe it was Adar Lounge at that time, gave us issues, and the conversation kind of just stayed on that point. And again, it's not to say we're collaborating here. I think this is going in a good, or can go in a good direction, to Mr. Julius's point, but that context matters because that's kind of where it was left. I think just to quickly go over the applicant's background. So he has over 2 decades of experience in the hospitality space with restaurants. There was Jackson Hole, which is a burger chain, as well as a Hell's Kitchen Cafe. And so when he has ties to this area. So when he was looking for a location to do Bodega Paradise, which is a concept of having an eatery in the front, focusing on small bites, so what you would call a tavern under liquor authority law, meaning that you're not going to have a full restaurant. And in the back there would be a nightlife component. With choosing a location, he was strategic to choose a location that doesn't have residents above. This location does not. And a location that has historically been nightlife, meaning that before him, there were two liquor licenses here, always under the DBA Adar Lounge since 2013. Okay, so there's a 12-year history of a nightlife component at this location. And I think as community board members, we can agree that a nightlife establishment, it matters a lot who runs it. You can't have somebody who comes in and is inexperienced in running nightlife and expect a cooperative neighbor and a successful location. And the owner is somebody who has that background and that experience. For example, he had hands-on experience as a security guard himself. So he approached it from that point of view of this location that doesn't have residents above, that has had a nightlife component, and he's trying to bring that in. And that was why the request of 4 a.m. was important, to keep in a way what was there, but also preserve that business model, because it was a lounge. There was, when we first came to in 2024, there was, we had to make a slight change to the menu. We always disclosed that this would be a tavern establishment, meaning finger foods. And originally he really wanted to do a juices and breakfast, but really as he was able to operate, he's been operating under a temporary permit for a year with no incident. As he was able to operate and really start to get community feedback from his patrons that have supported him, he started to see, okay, I'm getting a request for more lunch items. So he actually had pizza that is custom made for him. We're not talking cheap frozen pizza. Okay, I think he can talk a little bit about that, but he had pizza specifically made for him and for his establishment, and that has been a great hit. People love the pizza. So we had to change the menu slightly to really accommodate what his patrons were asking him for. But I want to be clear that even so, he has maintained breakfast, and we submitted a menu, which you have in one of the exhibits, where we have a couple of breakfast bites. We also have a couple of pastries. He has a great source for cakes. So the point is that we've always disclosed him to be a tavern, and that's what he was. And the nightlife component was always disclosed from the beginning. And I think we're probably going to get into some of the things that came after and community feedback in a different direction. If we're going to get into that today, or we're going to leave that for another meeting, whatever the case is, the point is he has always been open to communicating, to presenting the right paperwork. So it was never an intention to mislead the community or anything like that. This is truly an applicant that, if given the chance, he has the experience to do a proper nightlife establishment. If we can have a conversation about being given the chance to operate as a nightlife, which was what was there before.
Okay, all right, thank you for that. Adam, do you want to go back to offering context too? From
All right, so
process,
quickly,
from the perspective of license permits.
They got denied the first time for 4 a.m. Then, I don't know, some months back, I get a call from a board member saying, Diana, our city council person, was like, what did you guys approve there? And, we get a lot of licenses, and they were telling us that basically what was taking place there was a strip club. So I got on my computer right away. I'm like, there's no way we approved the strip club, but let me make sure we didn't make a mistake here. Pulled up the application, and as it was presented to us, it was like a juice bar and a lounge. But, and there's nothing wrong with a lounge, but what's taking place there, from what I've seen on social media and what I've heard from numerous people, including our city council person, is that it is a strip club. And that's the worst case, it's a strip club. Best case, it is certainly not a lounge. So long story short, the first, I think, misstep here was that the committee was totally misled as to what was going to be done there. We operate on an honor system, right? We're not going to go around and check every establishment that we recommend get a license. But what we do is follow up when it turns out that what we approved is not, what's taking place there. There have been other examples in this neighborhood where we've been misled by an applicant, and we've had to deal with it on this board, and it's been a problem. There have been certain statements made, not just variously, not by this party. There was this idea that the city councilwoman was now open. She did say she was, and I spoke to her myself via text on September 2nd, that she was willing to talk with them, but she still wanted them to be shut down. Okay, so that's her position as far as September 2nd. For me, and for the, and I'm gonna be honest with you, that committee, it didn't pass. There was no position taken. It was a stalemate, and that's why I came tonight. I also want to say there is no kicking this to next month. They put their 30-day notice in. They will go to SLA, and they will submit their application, and then we will not have an opportunity to comment on this. So we can do much what we do, like when we meet in the summer, which is this committee can take a position, we can send that to SLA, we can ratify that decision at full board. And what I will say is this, I believe in second chances and everything, but they misled us the first time, and I can say for a fact that at that licenses meeting, they were continuing to mislead us. The rep that just spoke now said that there was no employee dancing. That's not true. And I showed the committee, and there are committee members here who I showed them employee dancing. Then the story changed to, oh, well, that's not stripping, that's just twerking. Which, fine, whatever, it doesn't even matter. But you said there wasn't employee dancing, and then 2 seconds later, when you're shown that there is employee dancing, their social media is filled with advertisements for skimpily dressed people that would make one believe that it's a strip club. There have been numerous testimonials from people in the community that say this is a strip club. I'll just say my position on this, and obviously that's just one position.
If
Okay.
hold on, I'm sorry. I'd like to clarify. Can you hear me? Okay. I'd like to clarify something that you said. Which
I will recognize you. Hey, Jen. Adam is speaking.
Yes,
let him finish, and I will recognize you.
Yes. Okay. No
Okay.
problem. Please continue. There's just something I wanted to clarify, but yes, please continue. Thank you.
Adam, carry on, please.
Yeah, I'm of the same position I took at that committee meeting. I'm not saying this applicant doesn't want to run the right business forever, but I have no reason to trust them. The same way they have done nothing to demonstrate. I think that what they tell us is what we could take them at their word for. And that's from the day they applied to the last time they came to our committee meeting.
Okay,
Okay,
Jen, you wanted to say something?
Yes.
What did you-
So can you hear me? Because I'm still not clear on whether, can you hear
We
me?
can
Okay?
hear you. Yes, we can hear
Okay,
you.
beautiful. So as far as the dancing, okay, I believe he's talking about what we said in the last meeting. It wasn't that we were saying that there wasn't employee dancing. There is a context that matters here. So when the applicant opened this establishment, he had a manager who unfortunately started to take the establishment in a direction that was never agreed. And that's where the social media came in. I can't speak specifics to that because we don't handle their social media. We dealt with the liquor license. As soon as the applicant was made aware of that, he stopped the tone that it was going into. Now, the idea that there are simply dressed bartenders, okay? That, as I said in the prior meeting, and I stand by that, that might not be to my taste or to your taste as the community board, but we're talking here accusing him of doing stripping, which is a very different illegal activity of offering money and employees exposing themselves, and that hasn't happened. And when we keep repeating that, that is damaging for two reasons. Number one, it is not true. He's not stripping. He's not doing stripping there. And then also it begs the question of, beyond the community, if he's illegally doing a strip club, where are the police reports? Please understand, I'm not making this as an excuse that the venue should not have, under that prior manager, it shouldn't have even gone into the tone of an adult venue. But again, there's no police report here that and it never was a strip club. It keeps being thrown around that there was stripping there. And we keep repeating it here, and there's no proof of this coming up. And the social media, look, it might be tasteless, in my opinion, in your opinion. I personally, I'll give you an example. The establishment Hooters, okay? Do I personally like that name? The way that they dress the waitresses? No. Would I choose there to go on a date or go out at night? No, and some of you might not. But to go from there, the waitresses are skimpily dressed too. We're running a strip club. It's harmful to the applicants. And then I haven't had a chance to hear what Richard Ayala's comments are, but in writing, what I've seen, where it's just, we don't want him, even by your own words, we want him shut down. I'll talk to him, but we want him shut down. Shut down on what? He didn't do anything illegal to shut him down. And it was not the intention to mislead you. I understand as community boards, you go through this all the time, that you have an applicant that promises you the moon and the stars and then doesn't operate. And there may be a dislike here about what you see on social media, but he's been operating under a temporary with no incident. At some point, that has to count for something, right? It has to count that you may not like how I speak or what I say or how I look, but it has to count that he has been operating with no incident and no police reports. These things matter. Whereas other establishments, I'll give you an example, Reyes Bar, which is another establishment that has changed hands here a lot. I've never represented that establishment, so I don't know their specifics, but there were shootings there. You know, at that establishment, and I didn't think we needed to go this route, but I can give the proof of that. A couple within 500 feet of this establishment. So,
Jen, thank you. I have
Restroom?
questions here, but before we go to them, we have Police Officer Cosme on. I'd like to hear from her. Officer Cosme?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Good evening. Just on behalf of the precinct, we just wanted, we did meet with the owners of the establishment before it actually they actually opened, expressed our concerns, similar to what Adem already expressed. And other than that, the only thing that I can really report on is that there have been some 311 calls just for noise complaints, really, because the front door gets left open. And other than that, there have been 2 operations that have taken place there with the fire department, Department of Buildings, where they did issue some violations, but nothing that Like, I'm not sure exactly what the violations were for. I'm sorry that they're not here to speak to that, but that's the knowledge that we have so far from their establishment.
Okay,
If I'm,
thank you.
if I may
I had
say
a,
something,
I
if I may,
had a
thank
question
you.
from a board member. I had a question
Go
from a
ahead.
board
So,
member.
hello?
Nelson had a question.
I defer to the acting chair on licenses right now.
And Angel, I don't mean to drag you, well, I do mean to drag you in. I believe Angel, and he could speak to this better, can talk about that, inspection done by the DLB, because DLB actually is the one that has the authority that if this is not being used as the property's license to shut it
The
down. Department of Building, am I right, Angel? So Angel, can you speak to the inspection that was done at this premises by the Department of Buildings?
Sure. So after the site visit that was conducted with that Officer Cotton referenced, I was a party to that inspection myself. And we were left with certain impressions from the walkthrough, which we raised with the owner at the time. Subsequently, investigated checked with the Department of City Planning on the question of whether what we suspected the business was, a strip club and adult establishment, if that was permissible by zoning code at that location. Department of City Planning confirmed that it is not, and explained to us that the agency responsible for inspecting to confirm, our suspicions and whether or not this establishment is an adult establishment or not is the Department of Buildings. So a request was made to the Department of Buildings to conduct an inspection to confirm whether or not on that question. The Department of Buildings at the next District Service Cabinet meeting that we host here at the Community Board was asked whether or not the inspection was done, and if so, what was found as a result of the inspection. They told us that they did an inspection and they told us about everything but the question about whether or not it's an adult establishment. And that's all we got. So we never got an answer on that specific question, even though that's what we asked them to look into.
So,
I just want to say,
hello?
if I can, two more things. I mean, the owner, I believe, came to the meeting. He was, very nice, very well spoken. He did say that he did consider opening it as a strip club when he initially took the space, but that he says it's not operating as a strip club. They also did say at the meeting that I believe the rep said, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to spread any misinformation. I thought you just said it now, that they were not running the social media. I don't understand that to begin with, how the ownership wouldn't be running the social media for their own establishment. But it seems like in the lead up to this meeting, a lot of what was up there, the posts that were cause for concern, got wiped from the social media. Now, one can say, well, there's a pivot from the business, or another could say, oh, now we've realized posting this on social media is an issue, so we're just not going to advertise it there. So with that, I mean, that's all there is to say.
Right.
From me.
Alexander, you're
Hey,
recognized.
how's it going, everybody? So the building inspections that you guys are talking about, so that was done when we first opened. It was around the second week when we first opened. I was pretty much aware, the councilwoman called the building department, the fire department. They did, which is called a March raid, which is illegal, from Mayor Adams' office. So they came in with all the different departments. About 3 weeks after that, the mayor's office, Jeff Garcia, reached out to the fire department, the buildings department, and we had a separate meeting at the building, and the fire department wanted to go through the building department was there, the fire department was there, every agency, they all came back, the mayor's office was there, and there was no violations on the business itself. Even their main problem was they thought that there was people on the top floors of the building, which wasn't true. The building has been abandoned, the top floors, since the 1950s. So they already established that, and there was no violations. There was no building violations. There was no health code violations. There was nothing at all. you could contact Jeff Garcia from the mayor's office. We also met with the captain from the 25th precinct about 3 weeks ago. You could touch base with him. I met him myself, and he said that you guys been doing a very good job. There's no incidents. He mentioned 1 or 2 311 calls, and he asked us, can you shut the door down at 10:30, 11 o'clock? And we agreed to it. And pretty much that's it. There was no problems. There was no issues. There was no anything. And as for the dancing that you keep repeating, I understand. You keep looking at the social medias and talking about bartenders. Listen, Cardi B was in Washington Heights dancing on top of a car in the street. That's what the girls do. It's very difficult to stop a bartender from dancing behind the bar. It's difficult to stop any young person nowadays from telling them, hey, you can't stop dancing. And there's nothing illegal about dancing or working inside of a place. And if you're asking, you keep saying strip club. I know you guys have pressure from Diana, and if I could set up a meeting with her, I went across the street a few times to meet her. I would love to meet her face to face and talk to her. I know you have pressure, and I know you guys keep repeating the same thing over and over, but you keep saying strip club. It's not a strip club. You can go in there anytime you want, walk right into the place, and check for yourself.
And if I
Okay.
may,
Thank
I
you,
would like to
Alexandra.
note that
No problem.
Jen, I have a question from board members. I need to move the meeting along. Nelson, you've been recognized.
Thank you, Chair. This is not the way to advocate for your business. And I say that because I'm a former chair of this board for 4 years, and I'm a community resident here for 64 years. So I'm gonna tell you that I do not appreciate the way you're advocating for your business, no matter what your explanations are. And they may be truthful or they may not be truthful. I'm explaining to you that when you come somewhere and you wanna explain your business, the way to come in is to be here in person.
That's right.
Not on video, so that I can't see who I'm talking to. I find it the height of disrespect that I can't even see who I'm talking to as I'm sitting here right now. That goes for you
I
as
would.
well as Mr. Mercouris. No, I'm talking now. I did not interrupt you when you were speaking. And you're asking something from this body. So I am asking for your respect to allow me to continue my thoughts as a community resident here. I don't know where you come from because I can't see you. I don't have your bio. So I'm letting you know mine. That's the first thought, right? The second thought is anyone from the old business associated with this business?
No, there's nobody from the old business associated with that business.
From the old business is associated with this business. Okay, that's my
No,
first question.
there's no owners there. There's no from the old business. I believe it was a Moroccan bar or something like that. None of those owners are there.
It was an old, I'm used to say, everyone corrects me, not a hooker joint, a hookah joint, right? Thank you. Right?
Please don't say that words. Please don't say that. Oh, hello? Hello? Can you hear me?
My next
we
question
can hear.
is, I have several, Chair.
Yes, please, Terry.
My next question is, if Ms. Harris, at the beginning of her spiel, stated how experienced in this business the owners are, whoever they happen to be, how could you not know that someone's advertising your business on social media? How could you not check what the reputation may be, or how the community may be feeling, or even trying to process what that business is? I'll tell you, when I hear the word bodega paradise as a Latina, not a Latinx person, a Latina, the bodega word conjures up my history of our small stores. not a joint for little touch foods and little taverns and little this and that. So I personally don't care for your title. And I want to inform you that we had a full board meeting, and that if you really cared what the community thought about the perception of your business, you should have been there. As a matter of fact, Councilwoman Diana Ayala was there and spoke to us about her perception of your business or the business you're representing. And so I am not very favorable, and I'm going on the record. I am not very favorable about how you are asking an ask. A representative comes in, with all due respect, sir, with your letter and your perception. When I have to make a decision as an individual and a board member as to what I would like to see in my community. Because I have a right to know what's in my community, and people have a right to feel comfortable, not blacked out windows, not someone disrespected. The deputy speaker disrespected across the street. I don't care who you are.
You're
You should
100%.
know and vet your people.
You're
So that
You're
makes,
right.
I'm speaking. I have not ceded the
Alexander,
floor.
just let Nelson, she has
Look,
I have not
Right.
ceded the floor. If you are so experienced and you know your business and you know your people, and you didn't know that you had someone who would think it's okay to disrespect an elected representative that has lived here most of her life and that we voted her in and has the history, then I tell you that you need to go back and look at your hiring practices and who you think it's okay to bring into this community. And if you think that that's okay, then you have to rethink a lot of things.
Okay.
I do not think that anybody should come here and misrepresent, whether it was 10 years ago, 5 years ago. The fact that you're not here speaks volumes.
Thank you, Nelson.
Okay. Hello?
Yes, do you wish to address that,
Hey.
Alexander?
Yeah. So when I found out about with Diana, and I was cleaning up that building for almost a year. It was a very bad corner. I was there, pretty much 5-6 days a week cleaning it up. When I found out myself, first of all, I'm a very respectful person, and I would never ever disrespect or even raise my voice or even get into an argument, especially with a woman, especially with a councilwoman. With all due respect, my apologies. But when I found that out, that the painter of the building got into an argument with him, what do you think? I didn't rip him apart and yell at him and tell him and get into a big fight with him. I went crazy on him, and I was very upset. Not only that, but I went maybe the 2 days after that incident to apologize inside the office. And I left my telephone number and my email. I left everything. I spoke to them inside the office, and I apologized for that painter disrespecting her. So then I went back to the painter and I was like, what's your problem? How could you talk like this to somebody? And his defense was, he said, listen, I was up on a ladder. He goes, people were stealing stuff from me all day long. She goes, somebody started yelling at me from down the ladder. Do you have a permit for the painting? He goes, I didn't know who she was. I go, listen, then you come down from the ladder, you introduce yourself, and you apologize and you talk like a gentleman. There was no reason for that. And listen, if I could rewind time and paint it myself and be that person that was there when she came across the street, I would have loved to meet her. And I'm not that type of person. I listen, I would go meet her tomorrow and shake hands and hug her. So and that's not my
Thank
style,
you.
and it never was my style.
I've got some more. Thank you, Alexander. I'm going to ask everyone to keep your questions succinct as well as the responses too. So I do want to just acknowledge we have Rosa, Sage, we have Jose, who's remote, and I'm not sure if Candy is just wanting to let us know she's here, but so Rosa, please.
Thank you. I took a little bit of time to review the paperwork. And I think it was submitted a couple of times and the writing seems to be differently. The content of the application seems to be differently each time that you, submitted it. I also have a problem with the time from 9 a.m. all the way to 4 a.m. I find that really hard that a store will stay open that long, especially when we have schools in the area. Like, I wouldn't like that. That's my comment.
Okay, thank you. Sage and then Jose.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna say I am, yes,
Yeah, I hear you, Candy. Let Sage has the, go ahead, Sage.
okay. I'm gonna say I'm sympathetic to, what you guys have provided tonight. I would acknowledge that it doesn't look like, in my view, and I haven't been in there, but it doesn't seem like it's a strip club. Like, I am one of the younger people on the board. I have gone to like nightclubs and nightlife establishments recently, and I think it's pretty normal for people to wear, especially like bartenders. Like, you go to any club and they have like bottle girls and with sparklers and all this stuff. So I'm fine acknowledging that it's probably not a strip club. I will say that and I didn't even sort of know what was going on here. And I don't like that you, Alexander, mentioned that we are being pressured by Deputy Speaker Diana Ayala. I don't feel any pressure from the Deputy Speaker. But when she came and testified in person at full board yesterday, or not testified, but just spoke on this, she mentioned, having been disrespected. And I empathized with her, not because I was like, oh my God, they offended the Deputy Speaker, but because the exact same thing happened to me. And I live less than a block away from this establishment. And I was walking by, just curious about this business that's opening. I asked the guy who was painting, like, what is this? What's going on here? And he's like, it's a juice bar. And I was like, oh, like, tell me more. This is an interesting looking juice bar. All the windows blacked out. And he just like kind of gave me the cold shoulder. And I wondered, like, what did I do wrong? Like, does he not know that I live near here? Am I like, what's going on? And then later I found out that some people like took issue with it maybe being a strip club, which I acknowledge. I don't think it is a strip club. I want that like corner to thrive. I live less than a block away. I think it'd be great for an establishment to be there. I think it's even fine if it's a nightlife establishment. And I think it's fine if it's a nightlife establishment where, the people who work there are wearing like trendy things to attract business. I also think it's understandable to hire somebody else to do the social media and maybe the owner's not directly monitoring that. I think that's pretty standard. But I don't like the misleading that has apparently taken place. And I don't like the way that the establishment so far has interacted with the community.
Thank you, Sage.
Thank you.
Jose?
Are we able to respond to the points that are being made? Just because I don't want to forget, and I think there's some important points to make here. If that's okay, I don't know if somebody else is going to speak because I've dialed in. Is it okay to just address
If you can be
something here?
succinct.
Yes, absolutely. Look, I would like to say, and Alexander feels the same way. This obviously started on the wrong foot, and we apologize for that. To the point of the resident that was speaking before, that she's been in the community 64 years, it was never the intention to be disrespectful. I think when emotions and tensions are high, which is what happened, that's what played out here. As far as misleading, I think this morphs into something that is not acceptable. We're not saying that it's acceptable, but the idea of bodega paradise, bodega meaning delicatessen, right? It was kind of a nod. The idea there initially, and it still was, is a speak easy, which we know the climate post-COVID, businesses have to be creative to survive. So there's a place in Manhattan that looks like a toy store in the front, and it's a bar in the back. That was truly the intention, and I think Alex can speak more to that. He put in the money to put a nice sign. And given everything that came after, I can understand why that is like, okay, he just misled us. I'd like to point out, if you can take this for its just value, when we submitted the 30-day notice back in 24, even then, and even today, we said patron dancing. We asked you for that in good faith. So I think there was a lot of misunderstanding, and it continues to be perpetuated because to the points you've made here, there hasn't been that, and we take responsibility in this too. There hasn't been that let's all sit together and let's talk in person. Councilwoman Ayala went and spoke on the 16th, and I'll be honest, I found out from my client she's there. When we were told when we went before you on September 8th, come here on the 18th. Be here in person on the 18th, not on the 16th, and so I think there was an issue there. And Alex, I think if you want to speak anything further.
Yes. Hello?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
All right.
All right, let's move on to the next question.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you. I'd like to move on to the next question. Jose Altamirano, please.
It's not a question. I was more of a statement. I was actually in the establishment. I did the walkthrough with the 25th precinct. I was there initially with Diana Ayala and the second time that she went. Just to give some context, because I understand that, we're not using or we're avoiding using the word stripping, but when you first walk in, there's a bar, there's a nice bar, there is a oven that looks like for one personal pizza. But it looks nice. It's like a little lounge. And then the second room where there's a big girls arrow pointing toward it, there is poles in the middle, right? Like stripping poles in the middle. And then the bar is completely around.
No, those were covered. Those were removed from before we even opened.
And
I'm
there
telling you when I walked in. So I'm not
Those
telling
were
you what was happened after. I can
Yeah,
tell
but we
you that I
established
went there
that. I
the
just don't
day
want that on
before.
record.
I understand, but I'm referring into like what was initially there. And a lot of the issues that we have are the misleading that is happening toward this board. Initially it was one thing, it's a juice bar and it's a lounge, and then we find out it's something else, and you're making kind of changes in regard to us finding out. But that's where like the honesty and the trust factor kind of falls. So in that regard, we did a walkthrough with the 2.5. Adrian was there as well. And I can tell you what we saw. So there are
100%.
poles that were now removed, but at the time they were there, and there's a bar around it. We went downstairs. There is a big locker room area, and then further down an office. Which honestly, by the visual of it, led us to believe that it looks like a strip club, because that's what it looked like. And I just want to make that reference because I understand that maybe there have been changes in the meantime. But again, most of the community board's issues tend to be that there's a deception or perception of deception that is continuously happening, where at some point, like we're losing our trust in this situation. But that's what I wanted to say.
Okay, all right, Alexander?
Yes. So let me just rewind a little bit in all due respect. Listen, moving forward, I want to be on the same page. I want the community board support. I'm in the community 6-7 days a week. I want your support. It did that when you did that walkthrough, we weren't even open. I reached out to the captain. The place was still closed. He was like, listen, can you remove these poles? We don't want them here. I put them there for a style, for a vibe. I was trying to do like a vintage vibe. This. I said, listen, we'll remove them, and we did remove them before we even opened. With those, they were covered 2 days later with TVs and wooden platforms. I don't want to be that guy. I want to be with you. I don't want to be against you. And I apologize for everything, anything that went through or transpired that where it looked like something negative or sneaky. That's not my style. I'm there pretty much every day. I eat my lunch. I'm in the area. So anytime anybody ever wanted to have a meeting, when I was there and I was doing construction, people were walking by. I was inviting them in myself, doing my own walkthroughs. It makes me upset that the painter that painter that was outside disrespected you as a member of the community, and he disrespected Diana. because the thing is, he's gone, he's nowhere, he's not around, and I'm the one that has to answer for everything that he says. And once again, I apologize to you, and I apologize to you. I wish I could see you face to face, but I can't for some reason. My face is blocked out over here on this computer. But
Okay.
anytime you want to meet, or you want me to come in, or you guys want to come in, or sit down, or even meet someplace else, I'm in the area 7 days a week, and I apologize, and I'm sorry.
All right, thank you, Alexander. I just want to ask a question. When did you officially open?
I don't know the exact. It was. What was the date on that walkthrough when you walked through with the captain? What date was that? That was in
I
March.
don't remember the date, but they opened the following day.
Yeah, so it was whatever that date was. Jen, do you have the exact date that we opened?
I have the data. Give me 1 second. I'm pulling up your temporary permit, but I think there was a couple of days difference there from when because you had to, to order the alcohol from the right suppliers and all of that. I can give the date of the temporary permit.
Well, yeah, it was after that site walkthrough. I remember I reached out to the captain. He came through.
March.
I did 2 changes, and then we opened.
So March 24th was the date of the permits that we activated them. Just if that helps provide context.
All right, so to kind of bring this full circle, both myself and several others received with the social media, and I know it's been scrubbed, but it was Kings of Strip Clubs advertising on April 30th at Bodega Paradise for that Saturday. That was the advertisement that was circulating, and members of this community sent that around. So that's when you have a temporary license. So this is the kind of and that's what led to that inspection, Alexander, respectfully. So
That's
why.
Go ahead. I don't mean to cut you off. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so I'm just, again, since the sites have been scrubbed, this is something I was able to pull up from the community.
When I invited the captain in and he showed me that social media with that King of Strip Club's profile, I kind of like backtracked, like where would this come from? And I reached out to the bartender that knew one of them at the time, and I just pretty much, I was like, listen, that's not going on here. Don't advertise. Tell your boyfriend, tell whoever. That's not going to happen here. And we just pretty much shut that down immediately. So just to letting you know. But I saw that promotion.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna, Angel, please, and then
The commanding officer of the 2-5 is on.
commanding officer on. Where's,
I have my hand.
hi. Candy?
Yeah, Candy.
Candy, you had a question?
Yeah, I do, and I really want to say this and thank you, Nilsa, for saying what you said. I wholeheartedly respect everything you said and agree with you. And the truth is that Mr. Alexander, Ms. Corries, and Ms. Glenn, the truth is that, they coming with a lie to the community board and to the community, period. Because it's also disrespecting the youth of what we're trying to bring into 116th Street. It was a vibrant area. We're not trying to set the tone or change the dynamics of it because it's something that you weren't aware of and all this kind of stuff you're saying to us. And you keep repeating it like if you don't even know what was your intentions of you coming to that corner space. We do need to have some type of, to have business establishments. But let's not coming lying to us and then now you want to do right. But I still don't see the changes because one, the signage that you have is still misleading. Two, if you want to do good graces, get rid of the whole black the borders that you have by the window and make it transparent. It's all about transparency, and you didn't come with that. You came as dark as the way you have that whole establishment painted from side to side. And you still hear stuff going on the side. I live on the neighborhood. I'm right around the corner from you guys where you're at. So you can't even say that everything is what you're saying. And I just feel like if you really come in with good intentions and you want to be part of the community and give back to the community and you're saying you're there 7 days a week, I just feel like it's being disingenuous the way you came from the first time, and even still to this day. If you're really saying that you want to do the right thing, then get rid of the what is it that you got by the window? Get rid of all of that.
But what are
Okay,
you talking about? Are you talking about the? Hold on a second. Are you talking about the murals? Is that what you
The
don't like?
murals are nice, but let me just tell you, the entrance on the side is not
Which
showing that
one?
it's a
What
store
entrance on the side?
back
on
and
the
forth
front
is
of the
not
building.
gonna allow us to work. Candy, she's talking about the blacked out windows, Alexander.
There's
Yes,
there's no windows there. There is no
of course
windows there.
not. You covered it. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, all right,
You
Candy.
have it
I'm gonna,
covered. This
respectfully,
guy is not, he's not genuine. I hope nobody's voting.
Candy, we thank you so much. We have the commanding officer, the 2-5, Eric Castillo. You have the floor, and then I'm gonna, Nilsson, then the Demon. We're gonna move the meeting along. All right.
She already made my point.
Okay, thank you. Castillo, you have the floor.
Can I just say one more? Can I say one more thing?
Alexander, no, please. I have
There
to
was
move this
never
meeting along.
windows over there. That's why I don't understand what she's talking about.
Commanding
It was
officer.
Hey, good
Yes,
afternoon,
sir.
everybody. It's Captain Eric Harris, from 25 Precinct. I just want to keep this straight to the point and brief, but at the same time, I want to be fully transparent, so I'll start from the very beginning. We found out about Bodega Paradise approximately 2 days prior to the grand opening. We found out through some flyers that were circulated to us, and to be quite honest, the flyers, the way they promoted themselves, were very concerning to us. And then we started seeing online social media promotions from the King of Strip Clubs and similar things like that. So we were very concerned. We went to Bodega Paradise to have a sit down with the owner, whoever the workers were. And at that time, there was just some contractors there still working on the site. And they told us, hey, just give us your information. We'll pass it on to the owner. The next day, I received a phone call or a text message from Alex. He basically said, hey, just come by. We'll talk. We came by and he gave us a full walkthrough of the establishment. And to be quite honest with you, the perception is not factual, but the design and concept of that back room very much appeared like a strip club. I was highly concerned when I saw it. And then when I compared what I saw to the community board application, I saw a lot of liabilities. For example, it said no security guards, but yet they wouldn't have full-blown security on the inside and outside. No dancing, no employee dancing, and that it was being designed to be like a old school kind of speakeasy, which was a little bit contradictory to the design of that back room. And like I said earlier, I was extremely concerned. I didn't like the transparency. I didn't like the fact that an establishment was coming to the 2-5 precinct and they never reached out to us to just introduce themselves, welcome us, or give us the opportunity to welcome them to the community. And the fact that they were working on it for a year and kind of kept it secret. Also, the design of the establishment is kind of made to almost camouflage what's going on inside, calling it Bodega Paradise, kind of giving it like a bodega kind of look to it. It's all blacked out. These were all red flags for me. And I brought my concerns to them directly. There was an inspection done. I was present for that first inspection. The Department of Buildings went in there, had some violations. FD had some violations. We were not there to issue violations. We were there more as just force protection. But we approximately the second inspection. Oh, I'm sorry, the first inspection that was done shortly after the opening, they added netting to the poles that were in the back room. So that was the first change they made. They added poles to it to kind of camouflage the poles. And then later on, during another inspection, they added like wooden shelving to the pole area to kind of camouflage it even more. Since then, we haven't had any more inspections. We haven't actually entered the establishment. Just to be 100%, honest as far as any PD issues or concerns with the establishment. We haven't had any type of violence inside the establishment. We haven't had any violence outside the establishment. There hasn't been any crimes or such connected to the establishment. As of right now, there are 311 calls. being received for the establishment, but they're mainly noise complaints that come from the front door being left open, like mentioned earlier. And that's pretty much the height of the issues that we have seen. But like mentioned earlier, a lot of the concern came from the lack of transparency and almost the attempt to hide or conceal the original desires for the place, like how it was going to be run. So that was our major concerns. And like I said earlier, nothing as far as violence or criminal associated with the establishment, but we just felt like they could be a little more open and welcoming to the 25th precinct.
Okay, thank you for being with us this evening. Adam has his hand up.
Yeah, one statement, one question briefly. Look, there is no transparency here. They were fully going to go ahead and open this business the way they were and not come back to the board and tell them, oh, the way we applied is totally different now. We're opening and we intend to open our establishment differently. They had ample time to come back and say their business plan had changed from what they presented to this board and this committee, and they never did that, okay? You're not transparent when you're called to the table to answer questions. You're transparent when you come forth on your own and divulge the information as it's changed. And I'm sorry, but I don't believe anything you say. I said that you said there was no employee dancing. Then I said there is employee dancing, and then you said there is employee dancing. I've never been there. I haven't personally seen stripping with my own eyes. But the rep said, no, there's no employee dancing. And then I'm like, there is. And that's just been the pattern here. They say one thing, you call them out on another thing, they change the story. And then the question, what business is being conducted there now at 9 a.m. in the morning and 10 a.m. in the morning? Well, forget about 4. We know what's going on there. It's a nightclub, lounge, whatever. But what's going on there at 9 and 10 a.m. in the morning?
Alexander, what is happening in the business at
In the morning.
9 and 10 a.m.?
Listen, it's not. I know you run Patsy's Pizza, so it's not Patsy's Pizza quality because you keep referring to my small ovens and it only serves one slice of pizza. So it's not Patsy's Pizza. But listen, we try
Has nothing to do
our
with that.
best to serve the community, and we try our best to serve breakfast, and we serve pizza, and we serve juices and stuff like that. But it's hard enough to a business and even to serve food and keep up. You have a lot of supermarkets around the area and stuff like that. But it's anything that I say or whatever I tell you, you're just gonna spit it right back in my face. So
First of all,
I don't know what else to tell you. It seems like you have some type of vendetta. And you know what? It seems like you have some type of vendetta. And whatever I say, as many times as I apologize, and whatever I do, it seems like it's not going to be good enough for you. It's never going to be good enough for you. It's not Patsy's Pizza. It's not. I'm not going to serve pizza like you since 1933. But we're trying. We just opened. So why don't you give us a shot and stop trying to throw us under the bus every 2 seconds?
Yeah, Alexander,
Oh my
attention,
God.
no one can.
I never.
All I've been doing is getting attacked. Every single
Okay,
time. Non-stop attacks. It's non-stop already. Give me a break.
Alexander, what are you doing at 9 and 10 a.m.? That was the question. What are
We
you
serve
providing?
coffee. We serve breakfast rolls. We serve egg on a roll, bacon, egg, and cheese. We have juice machines in there. We try our best to do whatever we have to do to make money and serve breakfast. It's hard. It's a hard corner. You know what that corner. Look, 2 years ago, there was an article it was a heroin infested corner.
Alexander, I'm gonna let the board deliberate, the committee deliberate. Okay, anyone care to make a motion on this one?
I'll make a motion to deny.
All right, there's a motion to deny on the table made by Brihas. Is there a second? Seconded by Nilsa Rama.
Can I make a comment?
Sage, yes.
I'm just curious, what happens, they will lose if they do not get approved for their license?
Julius wants to address a few things. Let Julius address what he wants to say.
Okay.
Ellen?
We have a
Who's
motion.
running this meeting?
We have a motion on the table.
Yeah, who's running this meeting now?
Yeah, there's a motion. What is your question?
So I'll answer Sage's question. So,
What happens now?
yeah, they're gonna
Point of
submit their application to SLA, and as many times the SLA is done, they will approve something if we deny. Now, I don't know what they'll do, but if you remember on Yoki, where people were afraid for their lives, they still got their license, and we have to go to all these hearings, right, Angel, and all that. So this is not gonna probably stop them from getting their license, just so you know. This is just us taking our position and telling the SLA that's how we feel. That's it, okay?
So we have a motion on the table. There you go. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
He's ayed for the first one.
Was that
Any abstentions?
I can say that.
The motion carries. Thank you. Thank you for attending. All right, next we have Kalina Bar Corp. Renewal application, full liquor license number 1272267. Restaurant located at 2263 Second Avenue, corner of 116. They've submitted documents to support the SLA 30-day notice. They didn't have the posting, which is why it was not at license and permits. Is that correct to them?
Yeah, but since that meeting, we got an email from a concerned resident. They live next door or on the block. Yeah, he's here. I'm gonna give him, the reason, there was some 311s. It was nothing overwhelmingly concerning. They've been there. It was a standard renewal. They were missing the 7-day notice, which is how you inform the community that there'll be a hearing on this application. And so when that happens, we have to move them to another meeting. We try to be accommodating. So say, put it up now so you can come back. In the time, in between that meeting, received an email from a concerned resident about a lot of noise. There are a decent amount of 311 complaints. That resident in their email was not asking us to deny them or shut them down, but they were asking that they commit to putting in adequate soundproofing. If you look at their stipulation form, they don't currently have soundproofing. The stipulation form is the most powerful tool that we have as this board with the licenses. The SLA has now said that when an applicant submits their application to them, they must attach the signed stipulation form, basically the terms negotiated with the board. That's our leverage, right? That's when they agree to something there and then they're not doing it, that's when we can go to the SLA and be like, and so what I would say, and I'll give the gentleman an opportunity to speak, and he's come many times and, you know, it's always been, but in light of this, I would think that maybe there'd be a suggestion to implement some kind of soundproof in there because there are the 311s to support this resident's claim. But with that said now, you know, I'll allow him to speak.
Chair, may I just ask this, you pass this on her?
Oh, yeah, that's the post.
Would you, the owner's here?
Yeah, you might, somebody might need to translate.
Angel, would you, your Spanish is better than mine?
Exactly.
Caballero habla. El señor Mesquén va a trasladar lo que usted diga.
Okay. Yo tengo 22 años y he tenido poco complaint para tanto tiempo. Lo que pasa es que se mudó un vecino en la próxima puerta, los próximos vídeos. Y desde que llegó ahí siempre llama a la policía, llama. Pero mi negocio yo tengo control, yo soy el que manejo la música para la dinera. Me dice, ¿te pones música? No. Son people there. No. Hay gente arriba, duerme, no. Yo controlo mi negocio, pero tengo mucho tiempo ahí. Pero ahí como que me cela, como que está celoso de mí.
Okay, déjate. Yeah,
So
no, because
he was saying he's had his business there for a couple of years and he hasn't had any issues. But that, you know, he believes someone has moved there recently and that this is the person that's originating the complaints about noise. He says that he himself controls the volume for the establishment and he doesn't see that it's, untowardly loud in the place. And he's frustrated. He thinks that the person is jealous of his business.
Los de arriba no me dan complaint, pero uno arriba de mí, no. Solamente él que siempre llama el 311 y la policía no se pide. La policía me conoce a mí mucho, o sea, de 23 y 25, de muchos años. De 1987. Yo estoy en la 102 Lexington, está el precinto 23, que eran como mi familia. Muchos años, aquí 25, ahí fila, yo nadie. familia. Ese tipo no hace mucho que vino y me está dando complaint. Nadie me da complaint a mí porque yo me he puesto bien con los vecinos, son como mi familia, pero a ellos yo no sé qué les pasa. Entonces, señor, en el otro building, no hay ni building que está en mi colina.
En el piso vecino. So he was reiterating that he's been in the neighborhood for a long time at this location for a couple of years, but he had previously been on 102nd Street, I think he said, and they had very good relationships with the 23rd precinct, and then he currently has very good relationships with the 25th precinct, and he feels that the people in his building are like family to him, and he's never had any issues with them or they with him, but he believes it's ever since this one individual moved in next door, not in the same building, the building next door to where his establishment is located, and that this is the person that's calling 311 and making the noise complaints.
Por eso yo cuando entré ahí, había una bocina que estaba en la puerta para salir. Yo la cancelé, porque si cuando abre una puerta la gente va a escuchar la música. Yo la eliminé, las dos bocinas que habían alrededor. Entonces, yo sé que tengo que tener control con la música, porque allá arriba hay gente. Ya yo a las 12 o a las 11, yo cierro la puerta y pongo la música controlada para que la gente que está ahí escuche un poquito de música, pero no muy alta, porque yo sé que me van a llamar a la policía. Yo sé que tengo mi control. Yo soy dueño y controlo mi negocio, pero estoy ahí muchos años. Los vecinos saben que estamos juntos. Yo lo escucho a ellos, cualquier cosa, pero ellos no son ellos, el vecino, que llevo no hace mucho tiempo ahí.
So he again reiterates about this new neighbor that's making the complaints. He did explain that there were two speakers near the door that he has decided to, he says cancel, but I guess he moved them to another part of the establishment, and that after 11 or 12 in the evening, the doors are closed and he turns the volume down because he's trying to avoid people calling 311 and making complaints for noise against the establishment. And he just reiterated again the relationship with the neighbors.
All right, so when you make a 311 complaint, in this case, with noise violations, the NYPD responds. When they do it and they close it, they'll say, we went there and we don't see any sign of this condition, or we saw it and we took action to fix it. It's a mixed bag with their 311s. So there are some where the police went and they didn't see the loud noise or whatever, and there have been others where they do. Again, I don't think this is a huge issue, but this supports that whoever is making these calls is not making them always without reason, right? The NYPD is supporting that many of the times. At the same time, I don't think this is a huge issue, but it has been the practice. When there are 311s and then a person complains and that is supported, and now this person is just requesting soundproofing, that we do request some kind of soundproofing to mitigate it. Now, that's up to you guys. I'm just telling you what would normally occur at the licenses committee in a situation like this. So that's it.
Thank you. Sage?
Are the actions
I mean, Angel, do you want to translate that?
Yeah, you guys have to pay me extra for this part.
Facts.
I'm kidding.
Raises are coming up.
I'm kidding. Él estaba explicando que típicamente cuando el comité que analiza este tipo de aplicaciones recibe llamadas de la comunidad dando complaint por ruido, por mucha bulla, de una barra o lo que sea, típicamente le piden al operador del sitio que no solamente que controle el volumen en la bocina, pero que ponga algo, esta es la palabra que me escapa, soundproofing en inglés. Para, do you guys know soundproofing in Spanish? No. So it's like insulation. Yeah.
Insulation.
Yeah. So típicamente cuando recibimos ese tipo de llamada, recomendamos que el operador del lugar que haga la inversión para poner esos controles en adelante, que ponga esos controles en el sitio para que así los vecinos no se afecten tanto con el ruido.
El problema es que yo no hay mucho ruido, nada. Ese es el problema, que cada complaint, cuando envidian a una persona, le hacen una cosa grande. Ese es el problema de que hasta el súper que estaba en mi gobierno, yo estaba trabajo, Él dice, no sé por qué, porque vive allá arriba, porque es algo difícil para uno comprender.
Se
lo que está
entiende,
pasando.
porque la ofensa con
No
el
soy
sonido,
arriba.
la ofensa con el sonido es subjetivo. A mí no me molesta, pero a él le puede molestar, ejemplo, right? So, cuando la persona da ese tipo de llamada, nosotros tenemos que reconocer y respetar la llamada que recibimos y después hablar con el operador del sitio para que si se puede hacer un arreglo, un entendimiento, que esos son los compañeros que están entrando, estamos haciendo esa recomendación, no le podemos forzar a hacerlo, pero es nuestra recomendación. Ahora, si después que hacemos esta recomendación, siguen los complaints o vienen más complaints, después la próxima vez que usted venga, quizá el comité no te dé el humor para apoyarlo en ese momento. Pero ahora simplemente lo que estamos recomendando es que hagan inversión en poner el control de sonido.
You're the man, bro.
Y la palabra en español
Just say
es
yes.
insonoridad.
Just say yes and keep it moving.
Sí, para reducir.
Pero yo no tengo música en vivo, no tengo DJ que vaya a hacerme bulla, pero no quiero a nadie. Yo controlo mi música porque yo sé que tengo. Yo sé que yo sé donde yo vivo. Si un DJ me pone música, no me importa, el señor no me lo va a pagar, la volumen ahí en emoción, music, no. Yo controlo mi lugar, porque yo sé que ese lugar vive gente al lado, arriba. Ese señor me ha hablado muy mal de mí, pero la persona cuando vaya me dice, Philip, everything good? Ya, entonces la de música es ok. Sí, es que ellos saben que ellos me conocen a mí, yo no soy una persona, un bandido. Mira, ellos ni venden, no juca, no marihuana, no nada, solamente una cervecita, un traguito, esa avionera que está ahí, yo la controlo yo.
Right, so he's maintaining that he controls the volume and that when the police comes in response to the calls, they try to make sure that he's okay. Like, is everything okay? If they don't notice anything or anything, of any subsequent significance. So they kind of just go away. There's no complaints. And he's just, again, reiterating that he thinks it's just as one person, that he is very mindful of his neighbors, and that he doesn't have DJs in there or music blasting at all hours of the night or, any excessive volume, in his opinion. I was explaining before to him, I'm like, well, what we try to do when we hear these kinds of complaints is we have to listen to the complaints. And then we have to express that to the applicant, and then we offer the recommendation of installing soundproofing. We can't make you put the soundproofing in, but that's our recommendation. If we go ahead and take a position, and in a couple of years' time, when we're looking at your application again, and we've received subsequent complaints, and we know that there hasn't been an effort put in to do something like soundproofing, then it could result in the committee not wanting to support it at that time. So that's kind of what we left it.
So the complaints we have were on August 1st, July 29th, May 5th, March 8th, March 4th, January 6th of this year, so we have here this. So it seems to be very sporadic, at least from this, but I will refer to this committee. Do you have any other questions for the applicant?
I have a question,
Sage?
not for the applicant, but would you say the steps he's taken thus far to mitigate I guess one question is, when did you remove the speakers from outside? And then are those sufficient for the soundproofing, or do you want him to go further?
Yeah, I don't think he's interested in the soundproofing. Él estaba preguntando de cuándo usted estaba explicando que movió las bocinas de la puerta. ¿Cuándo fue que usted lo movió?
Hace tiempo,
Pero denme una fecha, denme un día, unos meses para poderle contestar a él.
Eso fue como porque yo trabajé 10 años primero para el Sande, para el restaurante.
Okay.
Y después de 2013, al 2013, yo me quedé, el año me dio el examen. Pero yo la desconecté, porque sé que los ruidos, cuando yo aprendí eso en el asiento del éxito, con el 2-3 y el 323,
Sí, pero disculpe, aquí, ¿cuándo fue que movió la bocina en este lugar?
Como un año después de 2003.
¿Del 2003?
Del 2003.
Pero usted
yo la desconecté y nunca he tenido problemas con los vecinos, ¿no? Esa persona que llegó a eso.
Por favor. Colina Bar abrió cuándo? Usted dijo anteriormente que eran 2 años. Más de eso.
No, cuando yo quité la bocina que estaban adelante.
No. Vamos a ir poco a poco, si no se la pasa más difícil. ¿Cuándo fue que abrió usted este lugar?
No, yo no lo abrí.
¿Cuándo usted
Entré
tomó el control de ese lugar?
2003.
El 2003. Okay, so it wasn't 2 years, it was 2003. ¿Y cuándo en ese tiempo que usted tiene ahora control, cuándo fue que usted removió esa bocina que usted indicó?
Como en el 2004.
He says like the year after he opened it in 2003, he removed
No
it.
compré.
Yeah.
Ahora porque yo esa
Eso
persona.
ya se something. Yeah.
All right.
It's just digging and digging.
Any other questions from the committee? Okay.
Yeah, just to us, for the 311 calls, I'm sorry, I get to look at them. They, you said they're sporadic?
It seems that way of just this year alone,
Thank you.
they're there. I will entertain, if there are no more questions, I will entertain a position for this, or recommendation. Madam? Or,
I'll make a motion to approve on the condition that they install some kind of soundproofing and that they provide proof. I'm not going to expect them to put soundproofing in a week, but that within a week, that they provide this office with some evidence that they're taking steps to installing that soundproofing. And that once that soundproofing has been installed, they provide proof of that as well.
okay, hold on, let me restate, Madam Griha made a motion to support the renewal of the application with the conditions that soundproofing is employed in some.
Well, that within a week from this meeting, they provide some evidence that they're taking steps towards installing soundproofing. And then once that soundproof, and let's call it, then within 3 months from now, we want evidence that that soundproofing has been installed. 3 months, I think, is more than enough
Supporting with the
time.
condition that steps are being taken within the next week, and that to install soundproofing, and that it be executed and completed within 3 months' time.
And we be provided
Provided that, all right, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Rosa Diaz seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries.
Lo aprobaron.
Antonio, papá.
Sí. Mañana te voy a llamar para explicarte del sonido.
O para explicarme.
Ya. Yo voy a ir personalmente y vamos a hablar. Yo me llamo antes.
Ok, papá, yo estoy a las 7 que te va a ver.
Okay.
Antes era a las 4, pero como ya para mí fue un poco
Stop
más
talking.
ya regresé.
Okay. Hablamos mañana. Okay. Gracias.
I'm sorry.
He's a nice guy.
¿Cómo te va, papá?
Yo lo llamo.
En nighttime.
Ya,
A las 7, ¿no?
Cuando salga de aquí, yo lo llamo.
Ok.
Gracias.
Se quedó con el papelito filtrar.
Sí, gracias.
All right.
Que me vaya bien, que me vaya bien. Cuídese.
Okay.
Thank you, Angel.
All right, it's done. Okay, that was Rosa Diaz who seconded. Okay, we're gonna move as quickly as we can to welcome back everyone to September. Thank you for your patience. Again, I sent an email to everyone that I was literally stuck in the air coming back from Poland, but it was under an NDA at the time, but safely back despite what's going on there. One of the things I want to talk about, it came up earlier this month with housing committee, and when we had, no, not throwing you under the bus. Don't worry.
No, it's all right.
But it's just about engaging constituents, and something that it's invaluable to our work is to listen to all aspects of the community. Listening, learning, carving out time, going to their spaces, inviting them back to ours so that we actually engage. And we don't have to go into a deep conversation tonight. I'd like for you to ruminate, bring back some ideas, solutions for October, ways we can deepen our relationships and our connections, to listen to all points. And those points are not always going to agree. They're just not, and that's okay. That is okay. But if we're to be the cure in what we're seeing in the vitriol across America, it starts here. You know, there's a saying, you can't be angry with someone you're eating with, right? You know, it's this, and we talked about this at Borough Board today, and a lot of the boards here in this city are having the same problems. There is, as we saw with the application just now, it becomes very personal. They start to get taxed. It's not acceptable. However, how do we build bridges? In the housing committee, there were members who were expressing their concern. They raised their hands, and the hands were missed. It just wasn't recognized as the first one back. These things can be oversights. We were asked to come out, Adem and I. They reached out to me and said, "Hey, we have a bunch of constituents who want to be heard. So we went to 119th, the Palm, I think it's 333, East 119th, and met with them. And these are people that I have not met before as well, and we listened. And we've encouraged them to come back and to attend and to be engaged, because these are ways we can build relationships and also grow together and to connect them with other resources. Now, 3 of those members were part of the Greater Harlem Coalition, which I know we've been at loggerheads with in the past. However, there were like over 20 people there, right? 17 of them were not. They're brand new people who just, you know, families, kids, you know, they're elderly, retired, you know, people who work as teachers. So I would really encourage everyone carving out time to listen to people who attend our meetings at the committee level where we do the work. Listen with an open heart and mind. Something I learned in a program is that even when you get triggered, it's what they call an amygdala hijack. That's what causes your like sudden like fight, flight, freeze. When that goes off, they say put your lid back on, take a step back, take a breather, and then come back, because we are dealing with a lot of sensitive topics, and we want to make sure that we deal with everyone the best we can and build those bridges. And so, I mean, if you want to add some comments, if we want to bring back in October a more robust conversation, just because of everyone's time, and we have that whole hearing.
Just something quick.
Yeah.
So I think one thing that like it happened like the other night at the full board, like I think sometimes people want to come in and be heard, and we should just listen. I don't think we always have to give them an answer, or like go do this or go do that, or like just listen, take it in, and something that will, I think, can diffuse a lot of their feeling of not being heard, is if we genuinely just listen and let them be upset, and we don't have to solve their problem on the spot. So I think if, as we're thinking about this for next month, like we can look back at like some of those interactions, like other interactions that'll happen, and just like, how do we just listen? Because all those people have to, we are just an advisory group, but all they are is a person who can talk, right? Like they don't even have the advisory role that we have. So we at least owe it to them to let them speak and say what they want to say without like us peppering them or like trying to solve the problem as well. So I think that's something we should consider.
Isaac, Dem, and then Angel.
I agree, and I would take that one step further and say that we should demonstrate that we have listened by somehow, you know, in future reports or in whatever work that say a complaint fell under what's purview. There should be some sort of follow-up that, hey, we've looked into it or we've done something to acknowledge that we've heard it, because we don't want to get into the habit of then listening and not doing anything. Like, you know, I'm telling you this all the time and nobody's doing that. So I agree with you. Not going back and forth, giving people space, but also actually seeing what can we actually do. And then I think also with that being realistic, I think we also have to be a little bit more, I think part of it is we don't, as a board, collectively understand all of our power. So sometimes it gets communicated differently to the community from different people. So they think that we could do more than we can do. But I think that's another point of clarity that would help if folks understood what was our purview and what it was not.
Yeah. And that's part of what Adam and I dealt with in trying to demystify. And like I tell my kids, draw it out in crayon. Simple, so you know, 8-year-old, 5-year-old can understand. But Adam, your comment.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I agree with Derek. I just think you have to take it person by person, situation by situation, right? There were people, I think, that came to the full board that I do think, right, it was just to listen. When we went that day, I went there and I was like, go ahead. But then they had questions, right? They wanted to be pointed to resources. So, and like Isaac said, you don't want to mislead them in thinking you can tell them or fix a problem. You don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. But, you know, we just made them aware that, you know, it was a misstep in not seeing their hands, you know, but that one of them did come to the full board meeting and speak during the public session, because we told them that that's the place to come to tell the board, you know, and we told them you can come every month. There were 20 people. They were like, don't bring 20 people every month, but every month come, you know, come to my meetings, come in person. When you come from now on, we'll make sure you're called on. It's hard sometimes with the Zoom. I didn't have my vice chair there, but I'm not making excuses. That's why I went there, to tell them that. But I agree with you guys. I just think we need to be receptive to what we think they need, right? Sometimes they just want to tell us something. We don't need to ask questions or this or that. So I agree with all of that. Yeah.
All right.
I don't agree. The very first part of our full board agenda is the public session, which is where we sit and listen. So month after month, forever, the very first thing we do is listen to the public. You can sign up to speak about whatever. They're supposed to be speaking about the items of the agenda. That's not enforced, so they speak about all kinds of stuff. They never stop. They can say it and we can listen. And then when they're done, they might ask a question. What was that email? What was that phone number? What's the date? Every month, you can't tell me it's different because I listen every month. Every month, I'm just listening. Then the board takes positions, right, all the time that are informed by the input from the public, all the time. Subjective. Right? So the reason that I disagree with the idea that the community board doesn't listen is because my experience has been that that certain people that come and make that accusation aren't listening themselves. Right? So it has to be, in order to have communication, you need two, right? And that's not to say the community board is perfect in any way. It's not, or whatever. I'm not gonna get into how you guys can improve. You've heard me say that enough times. But the question of not listening and not being responsive, I think a person and a half reads our statement of district needs every year, maybe, including board members, So read the statement of needs and you'll see a lot of the things being raised by the people that are hurling, stuff at us, saying, oh, you don't do anything, you don't do anything, you don't do anything, you don't listen. I'm like, that's funny, it's right here. And it's here, and it's there, and it's there, and it's there. It's there, right? It's informed by that input. So like to that, I asked to speak and to express my disagreement because I think that's corrosive to let that idea fester. I think that a person comes, maybe it's the first time they've come, they're hearing all kinds of stuff being hurled at the board. Other people are clapping and snapping their fingers and huzzahing. They may get the impression that that's indeed what the community board does. And I think that if that's true, we shouldn't meet. It's a lot of time spent in this. Instead, we spend the time, invest the time, listening, having the conversations. Just earlier this evening, we had a long conversation with this Bodega Paradise issue. And yes, there was some crosstalk, but Xavier was doing his level best to give everybody their individual opportunity to speak. So then if someone were to turn around and say, you guys don't listen, I'm like, really? The only reason we were over there for the inspection in the first place is because people were saying, oh, this might be a strip club, we're concerned it's gonna be a strip club. We're like, oh, okay, so radar's up. And we start making the calls we can make, taking the steps we can take, asking the questions we can ask. That's not just listening, that's being responsive. So then when someone is saying, you guys don't listen, I don't know about the rest of you, but I take offense because I'm sitting there, I'm listening, and I'm watching y'all listen, and the cross-talking stuff when the idea that when someone is speaking in the public session or testifying, they're being spoken over, I haven't seen that once. Not when they're testifying. If someone's, railing or losing it or whatever, which doesn't really happen too much in our meetings, I guess, but not when someone's testifying, not when someone's submitting something. The week before, at land use, we had a very good meeting, I thought, went very well, we hit all our points, and there was a person sitting right there behind where Jessica's sitting right now, sat there quietly the whole meeting. Another gentleman was over here. They listened, they seemed very, engaged with the conversation. Towards the end of the meeting, this person asked to speak if they could raise something. They have a proposal for, addressing the needs of the communities, like a general thing. And Jason, tell me if I'm wrong, Jason acknowledged this person. They were not on the agenda, gave this person time to speak. The person spoke, allowed this person to distribute the printed materials of their proposal at the table. Everyone thanked this person. Then she was asking, she wasn't sure, and we were being reassuring. No, thank you very much. This is great. We'll take a look at it and we'll talk. that same person came to the full board meeting hurling bombs. You're not listening. I'm like, wow, what? And I'm sorry, I left off one point.
Yeah.
So then Jason adjourns the meeting, and as I'm cleaning up, Jason is standing right there speaking to this person for 5 minutes. That Jason. And then, then Angel kicks everybody out because he wants to go home. But so like, I'm listening, you're not on the agenda, I'm giving you time, I'm giving you my own time. After it's adjournment, you guys are off the clock, right? So then to hear, people can say whatever they want to say, and then you have to listen, and people listened. But it's hard to take when we're listening, and we would have listened that evening too, and what you're saying is you guys don't listen. I'm like, it was not even 5 days. Right? So I'm like, it isn't accurate that we don't listen. Last thing, I'm sorry if I may, among some, just like some just don't know and they need to learn, and we have to have grace, and we're here to help, right? There are some that use it as a political tactic. So I am very critical of the group you referenced before, because they were very organized in their constant, unsound and incorrect accusations toward the board and the project that we were reviewing at the time that was really, getting their hair in a mess. But it was their political tactic to say, you guys don't listen, and you don't listen, and nobody listens, and you don't care, and you're not from here. Like every single one of these damn people is from here. Or if they're not living here right now, they spend all their waking hours here, or they're invested in the business here. I got my eyes on them. I'm just as, suspicious of people as anybody else. I haven't seen it. Years ago, we used to have this one person, there was a board member that very clearly was here for one person. They were here for 5 seconds and they left because they were thwarted, because they were not going to get what they wanted. Everybody else is just a bunch of regular old people listening. I say this again and again. I think I said to you in the email, I feel stupid sometimes speaking up for the board, right? Because I think I'm being the loudest in defense of those principles. I'm like, of that reality. That is the reality. That's not to say that person number 103 may not be aware of the board, okay? Well, then don't have the bombs first. Ask the question first. And to entertain people hurling bombs, I think is corrosive. I'll just stick with that word.
So thank you, Angel. I know we have some hands. I think the big thing is trying to, and again, I want us to think creatively. I am not leveling that we're not listening. That's why we're going out there to dispel that. It's a simultaneous educate, dispel the rumor that that's the case, and then they see the action by us actually saying, hey, we're here, like what you've been saying. So I think that's, again, it's twofold in this. So Rosa and then Jessica, and then we'll move the agenda along. Okay?
Yeah, I know. Two of the people that came that night, actually, I did mention, if you want to wait, we can have a little talk. I can provide you my information, and I'll help you however you need to, be helped, because that's what I do. That's in my nature, to help people, period. So whenever I have these tabling events, it's not just a table. I don't go there just because I want to be seen in the picture, but it's actually like, how can I literally help you directly? Because that's what I do. I don't get paid at all. It's because I love it. I just care about it, and I just want to provide awareness of every single organization that we have here. We have a lot of organizations getting money, grants and everything, to provide resources to that community. They're there. Go to them. And if you don't hear from them, let me know. Because I'm a board, I'm a governance team here, like the East Harlem Community Partnership. We help hundreds, if not thousands, of people per week. And I'm sending them because we have the money. Well, not we, but they have the money so they can help people. So that's my point in tabling. Like, what is the community board? What do we do? Come to the meetings. All our meetings are on the website. They're there. Bylaws and everything, minutes, recordings, they're there. But people just don't know.
Thank you, Rosa. Jessica, and then I think Jason got your hand.
I'm good.
Jessica.
Sorry, I appreciate the conversation, the topic of the conversation. Every time we acknowledge comments after having listened, there's an opportunity to set the expectation, the understanding that engaging the board and enacting change takes a lot of time. And just to sort of remind those who come to the board about that continued invitation to the table and to be patient in the process. Showing up at a meeting and being given the floor is beyond generous as far as, policy is concerned. It's, to remind at every point is an opportunity to sort of set the expectations to build trust in the longer term consideration for continued engagement. And it's something, in the response, thank you, and as a reminder, the board is cyclical and our work is cyclical. And I think it speaks to the reflection of district needs. It takes, 2 go-rounds to know where we're at and what's going on. And I think for those who are just jumping in, hop on in, but be ready to sort of be a part of the cycle and keep coming back is the opportunity.
I stepped out for the bathroom. Can I just say one thing really quickly, Chair? October is National Civic Awareness Month, and so I know we're not meeting until the end of the month or the 3rd week or so, but I just want to encourage the board as you're thinking about how to do civically engage the community, if whether the newsletter or other information. I know we talked about sharing out early voting information and hours and websites, but if we could use that as a theme for the month and tie into that, it also might be something to consider. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. All right, thank you very much.
You want to jump to the next thing?
Well, I was gonna actually table the meeting calendar and switching dates thing, so we can move things along if you're pleased to do that, because I really want to.
Okay, I just wanted to say something before you move to whatever item you're gonna get to next. I know it's hot in here, the air conditioner is not cooling, I'm not trying to sweat you. I could put the fan on, but it won't be cooling, so if you want me to do that, I'm happy to do it.
Everyone, do you want the fan on?
He said it's not gonna cool it, so.
Let's just follow the road.
Just so you know you're not being
Angel,
killed.
thank you for the offer.
Thank you.
All right, in the interest of time, we'll go back to the meetings, calendar, switching dates and everything. What I was going to do is give you a brief history of what has happened pre-COVID to now and how we can work truncate and make our meetings more efficient, and also, working together collaboratively as board leadership in case dates shift around. So we'll revisit that. We're going to table that until October. Committee goals for 2025-26 meeting session. So I'll go right to left. So Isaac, you want to hit some goals, and we're just going to go around. And before we jump in, I do want to make one quick announcement. And now that she's here, Jessica Morris is our elections chair. So she will be with us through November. So we have John Green that is there, Pascal Hano, Russell Schuler, and the 5th one is,
Keoka Jackson.
Yes, Keoka Jackson, thank you. So we look forward to them the election process. So with that, we'll then go to Isaac with committee goals, unless you.
I think, 2 goals that we definitely have are, one is, looking at our budget request. Again, looking at the requests, looking at the answers we got back, seeing, what needs to take place. This was the process we took last year too, when we decided, based on the answers we were getting, were there different ways we could advocate for this particular thing to get it done? Or do we continue to go the route of trying to push it through the budget, or is it both? So we'll again go back and look at all of those requests and see how we can do our multi-dimensional advocacy. That's one thing. And another goal we can list is an event that I would like for us to do the 2nd edition of our Building Bridges event like we did last year. This one wouldn't be on addiction, but be more on behavioral health support, especially for families and young people.
Nice. Very cool. Okay, next, Jason.
Planning and points of agreement.
Derek, I know you're not committee chair, but glad to have you here as our treasurer.
Happy to be here.
I'll share mine in writing.
Making my life.
You want to share yours in writing?
I'll send everybody in writing a thorough breakdown, but for the sake of time, I'll pass.
Sage.
on district needs and budget, it's to submit our statement of district needs and budget requests on time, and that will require everybody to work together and get me stuff preferably before your next committee meeting to be voted on, ratified, approved at your next committee meeting so that district needs and budget can approve it at our next committee meeting on October 16th, and the full board can approve it on October 21st. And also, throughout the year, having the process be more, the word I want to use is like iterative, but I don't know if that's, but just have everybody continually adding requests so that it doesn't feel like a blitz at the end of the year.
Budget trackers.
Rosa?
Well, I think for me, what has worked, especially for my committee, in making people aware of what is the environmental open space and parks committee is tabling. It has worked. We've had a lot of people come in, either in person or more presentations, and also make people aware of, like, what is recommended. Or I think we like. Again, I'm just speaking for me. I like the tabling just because, like, it's more like one-on-one with families and how we're here. We're here to help you. This is our location. And yes, we are able to advocate on your behalf, but we need your voice.
Nelson?
So as office oversight, chair, we had discussed in our last meeting about how we would like to evolve, but we also talked about one of the things that was important for us is staff support, and so we're gonna continue on that level, staff support. And I know that the bylaws committee and Sage and I had this conversation, thank you so much, Sage, and I were on the phone like for about an hour. And so we were discussing about possibilities about if there's an evolution of the office oversight committee, and in the best interest of the board, what could that look like? And so I know that Sage will speak more about that, because that's his project to speak about in the bylaws committee. But we had a robust discussion, and I liked some of the suggestions and where he's thinking, which is really nice.
Thank you.
All right, wonderful. All right, good. And with this committee is to continue our growth. In general, we've kind of been hitting some of it right now, but is to make sure that we're checking in with one another, that yes, elections, do you have some goals?
Of course, yes, to have a really smooth, no friction, robust opportunity to engage board members in our due process.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
At a critically important time, given term limits and board trajectories, transitions. So, addendum.
I just wanted to offer a suggestion, but I don't know if you finished your goals.
My goals are to continue. What we're seeing right here is to make sure we're being engaged, and the big thing is passing on institutional knowledge. There are, I think, 8 of us that are cycling off by March of 27. There is myself too. There is a voluminous amount of information to impart. Yes, it is on the website, but we just broke ground, or not we, but Warren Everhart broke ground this week at the Children's Aid site. But they painted over the murals. And I was on a call with the owner, the developer, who was in Greece for Rosh Hashanah with his family. And he stayed up till 10:30 at night along with Uptown Grand Central Kerry King. And he committed to, once we get through the demo, like the digging, the foundation, that they would help sponsor repainting everything, because we've already been receiving the litany of complaints. But the work that was done there institutionally, like when we've done our onboarding, like Jess Morris and I, during the pandemic, were
Dragging trees
out there over the street. This knowledge, this work we're doing now, the work we've done, Sendero Verde, all these other projects I would like us to spend time imparting that to the new members and to the existing membership, as well as, staying center focused on the people we represent. So that's something we'll all have to do.
So point of clarification,
Oh, Michelle's online. Oh, great, thank you so much. So that's in general, so, yeah.
Point of clarification for the record, dragging trees literally means dragging trees.
Yeah,
There's
and
no
big
innuendo or
planters.
anything like that
Sure,
there.
sure.
It's the truth, yes.
It's true, they were donated by, Urban Garden Center too. So that's, again, knowing our partners where we have people that are actually contributing to the community. Thank you for flagging. Michelle.
Hi, I wanted to say that for public safety and transportation, our overriding thing is that we want to really go and each of us find some sort of stakeholder and really engage with them and bring that back into the committee as well as back into our whole community. And I think that that is a overriding goal that is just going to enrich us further.
Wonderful. Thank you.
I just wanted to make a suggestion that as a community board, we need to take the work of this board seriously. And I'm saying that comment for the simple reason that Sage made an observation that not every board member had done this, right? That is our first document for the district needs and budget requests. And I remember Jason, I remember Xavier, I remember Jessica, right? Impressing the importance. Yeah, I mentioned 400 people, right? Now, as part of our meeting, maybe a consideration would be in the future, maybe not this year, that as part of our first meeting, if this is up, as before we start the public session and we take attendance, that everyone gets 5 minutes to complete that. Because I think that that would start everyone feeling that, right, and you put the screen, and everybody has to do as part of their first meeting, doing that. So at least 50 people have given an input, and any public member, anyone that's there. That's my first suggestion. I also think that we talked about this ad nauseum, and this was something since we asked about goals. At that time, it was not in my purview. We need to, as a board, know how to act as a board. And we need to do best practices as a board. And while we can support what speakers come out and the public says, I think we have to have a collective way of responding so that we're taking it in and it doesn't look like half the board agrees with this and half the board doesn't. And then it looks like, well, why isn't that person, is that person because they may be new here or transplant or somebody else is older, so they're either snapping their fingers and things like that. We appear a certain way to public. I know, because I'm in the multi-service center and I hear it all the time. The last thing I want to respond is how we respond. We have to respond in a way that we may all be individuals, but this is a body and it's a collective body. And so there's nothing wrong with saying here, present, as opposed to making a different response. We're not taken seriously. And I'm gonna tell you that because I'm told that. We had someone tell us in our full board meeting on tape that if they had a problem, they would not know if they would come to us because they didn't think it would be taken seriously. That's not the first time that comment has happened. And we've always worked on it. As a board, we've always hit our heads about how we're gonna do this. But now we have a fresh start. We have younger people on the board, right? We have younger representation, different ideas, and we have us me as an old stir. Right?
Experienced.
I like a season, right? And I can only say so much, but, and I know Angel, he's come up with, how we conduct the meetings, the effectiveness of the way we're conducting the meetings is because of that guy sitting over there in the corner ignoring me. So I'm telling you, this was not. So all I'm saying is that as we move forward, I think there needs to be some kind of of a re-education of old members who may be comfortable embracing new members and acting as a collective, and things aren't gonna change immediately, but I get very upset when I hear, oh, you guys don't even know, like, you guys can control a meeting, or you guys don't even know, like, if you know what you're talking about. When I know the 50 people here that I've had the pleasure to work with in the past and the new members, I know that I learn every time from every person on the board, and I'd like other people to know that as well.
Thank you, Nelson. It looks like we have a volunteer, right?
Now, I would office oversight, put a whole thing together, and then I was told that was outside of my purview.
Oh, no, it's good. Thank you, everyone. That's very helpful. District needs budget request for fiscal year 2020. Oh, sorry, Jason, you got it.
No, I'm sorry, the sun jumped on me, I wasn't right.
Fiscal year 2027. Sage, what you covered in your goals, or
Yeah, basically what I mentioned in my goals rings true about budget requests. Send me everything on time. I sent out emails to every, committee chair that has budget requests last night. I sent what your narrative was last year, and we would probably just like default to that. I personally would probably, like Angel said, 1.5 people read the statement of district needs.
You can do the half of the whole, it's up to you.
I would be the whole person. But I think more people will reference it over time, especially, yeah, and lots of people look at it. They might not read the whole thing because people don't have, an hour or two to read like 50 pages. But lots of times people will just look for something. And my intent, if I'm, still chair of district needs and budget, is to build on what we do this year, next year. So pieces of what's in the statement this year will continue to appear in years to come. And so I think it's important just to take it seriously, continue to update, make sure that like certain things like references to the Second Avenue subway, for example, has to be updated for what's going on right now. References to certain projects that are now complete need to be updated. So I just hope everybody, looks at it, really takes it seriously. And I will read the whole thing, and if there's stuff in there that doesn't make sense, I will probably change it. But ideally, it would get changed beforehand.
With your committee, of course, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
That's why everybody has like a liaison on our committee that you talk to. But at the end of the day, like I will also, and then Angel will look at it too. Maybe you're the half.
I did have a question.
I definitely don't read.
For the statements, right, like what the previous practice was, because they cross-collaborate, right? Like license and permits crosses with land use, and then land use, it crosses with eco dev, and it crosses with housing. And in the past, I'm just clarity, you don't have to get deep, but it was something that's been ringing in my head since I got your email. Is it no longer that the committee that's, for lack of a better word, the priority, example given for us, it's always housing, are they still driving it, that statement, or is it that, because I did look at it, it seems like some people decided to kind of put some input for themselves that happens through district needs or outside of the purview of the committee, which is valid, right? That's, it's not a committee's district need or SAGE's, it's the board. So yeah, I guess my question is, are we still allowing the priority committee to lead the statement in conjunction with district needs and the staff?
I think everything should happen at the committee level. Okay. It only, comes to be edited by the district needs committee once you guys have sent me what you need to send, and if for some reason something doesn't make sense. And ideally, the member on the district needs committee would talk to you about something. Like we are supposed to be just the mediator in the process of creating this thing. There are certain sections like I think land use, economic development, and housing all have to, chip into the section that's called like affordable housing, economic development, and land use. I think it's frustrating that we, on the community board level, have 3 committees that address that, but the city just sees that as one category.
Yeah. An asset.
Yeah. but in like the text of the narrative, and I don't know sort of what happened in like the past couple of years, so I'm not exactly sure exactly what you're referring to with like added, stuff was changed.
Right.
Part of that might have to do with just like, there are like character word limitations.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Some maybe
Alright.
stuff gets whittled
Just making
down.
sure that the flexibility is still there, that's it.
Yeah, lots of
I was
flexibility.
not super conservative with it.
And I should also note, like I sent you like the entire chunk. There might be, especially with that section I just mentioned, like the only part, like if your land use, you probably don't have to edit necessarily like the preservation of affordable housing piece.
It was very easy to distinguish
Yeah.
what was yours and what was
Yeah.
mine.
No, I know that.
Yeah.
I'm just making
I
sure
won't
that
touch
the
your
team
stuff.
understands that, so that way, we had to go to
I
a
hear
full
you.
call process at one point. So I just wanted to kind of stay away from that.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Sage.
Sorry, thank you. Pat.
No, it's
I was gonna call
good
him
to have
Pat.
clarity, and thank you for
Thank
jumping
you,
in. It was good to see those
Chair.
emails this morning. Huh? Oh, John, you had your hand up. You're recognized.
Yes, good evening, everybody. I just have a question about district needs and budget. I know there's a limited amount of requests that we can make, but can we put in a request like have increased funding for the community board itself?
Should always.
Yes.
We've always maintained that request, John. I don't think we've
Yeah,
ever
it
let
comes
it
out of
go.
district needs.
No matter what.
Yeah, in the statement of district needs, there's another section, and that's a place where we can put that in. And Angel and I are responsible for the other section, and we will definitely include that.
Because the thing,
in addition to that.
because the thing is that like funding for the community board has remained stagnant for so long, and the thing is that it they need more money. I mean, the thing is, you guys know that Angel, Khalid, and Marlene do a great job. But if they had more funding, they would do even better.
Thank you, John. That's
Can we confirm that?
Okay, Angel, thank you. That concludes district needs and budget requests for fiscal year 27. Thank you. Look forward to seeing that process come to fruition. Board member attendance, Rosa.
Yeah,
Can you just pull up the, we're gonna pull it up also on here.
Okay, because I already took the liberty of putting people's names and everything.
Oh, you did?
That's what you should do.
Oh, you did? All right, we'll go through it. We'll just have it good correspondence.
So like it's 100%.
Besides that.
Wow.
Even bigger. All right, so.
Right. Is that bigger?
Rosa.
You may be able to type a number over the 200%.
Yeah, you should change it to.
That works. They're gonna stop looking at it. 3 minutes. Cross talking. What they was. All right, we go on for that.
Are we doing the current ones or are we doing the? I don't know.
I'm not interested.
So.
I
what
think
have-
that we're doing this because we would have gone into executive.
Yeah,
I don't know
so
why
what
we-
I have
Yeah,
so
that's
far.
next.
Right, so I think we're doing this first,
Okay.
all of it.
Thank you, Chair.
I'll step in. We don't have a chair or a vice chair in the room.
So, with that regards, excuse me. With that regards, I already have a couple of names that, have like 2 committee meetings. Obviously, school board, our first day was like 2 days ago, so
Yeah.
2 days
Yeah.
ago. And Ecodev, we didn't have quorum.
Yeah.
Very sad about it because I have a child sick and then make it here and then you're not here and we're not gonna get into that. Let me see, with regards to housing, we have 2 members that were absent. I can say the names, I have them here. Human Services, we have 3 people absent. With Land Use, we have 3 people absent. Licenses and Permits, we have 3 people absent. Public and Safety, 4 members absent. And Youth and Education is 1. The only thing that I've seen, maybe we, like, I don't know what is the solution anymore, because in the same member in one committee is absent and the same member in another committee is excused. So,
Wait, say that part again?
You're saying on different nights?
so this committee member, I know that they're not here, and I know because that committee person sent me, I'm the secretary, I get everyone's emails. But it seems that some chairs are maybe deciding to excuse it and some chairs are just putting absent. Like, what are we gonna do about that?
Well, the bylaws, we are gonna be addressing that. Can I talk about that for a minute, because it just kind of touches here?
Please.
So I just want to touch on 2 things. We're going to decide, I can't tell you exactly, but there will be a discussion and we will be changing that because it's causing a lot of confusion. And then while we're on the topic of attendance, we'll be having hearings tonight, and it's been a difficult process to enforce. It's too ambiguous. It puts too much, I think we've said this a million times. There's got to be a way to make it where that doesn't have to happen, right? So one of the ideas that I've had, which I'm going to throw on the bylaws, is, everybody's entitled to a hearing, and I believe, in most circumstances, everybody's entitled to a second chance. But when you come to these hearings, right, and we've done it, we ask if you can recommit, right? And we've been very open to people recommitting and giving them the benefit of the doubt, and a lot of times that works out. But the idea is to throw 1 or 2 ideas. Either have a probationary period for a year following someone's hearing, where there'd be a stricter attendance that they'd have to abide by, and there would be no hearing then. The vote on that person to keep them on would include that concept, and then if they were to meet a threshold again that we set for them, it would be an automatic removal. That's a little complicated. The other option is, apparently, we don't have to hold the hearings. We can contact city law, and they can have a third party do these hearings. And for the longest time, we've said it's difficult for us to have these hearings, right? I mean, unless I'm missing it, right? We don't appoint each other, but we're tasked with deciding whether to remove each other. And that's not a comfortable position I think nobody likes to have to go into these hearings, right? So that's an idea. Because I will say, you're not going to fix the attendance day to day. I don't see that happening. You tried your best. You were sending flyers out, this and that. And I think that a lot of it was disregarded and not rightfully so. So bylaws is going to really be focusing on attendance and trying to find solutions for this excused absences thing, and for kind of shifting what we've been doing up to now with hearings and all that, so.
And real quick, because was it Rosa had a hand? I know it was Sage.
Sage.
Yeah. Just to add to this, when it comes in to, we had a borough board. The city law had actually stated that the members can be removed for substantial non-attendance. That we know is contingent upon our bylaws, but the clock starts ticking from that first absence you had. So if you had an absence in January and you get your 4 by June, then that's your 6-month period that it would start the clock. It started back in January is the clock. And the other thing that even when we follow our process, according to city law, is that if the board member still disputes it, they can go through oath.
Right.
Yes.
As opposed to, right, like there's a third one, they get a notice, they have to respond to it. If they want a hearing, if they miss the 4th, they have to respond to a hearing. Technically, if they don't follow that process, that could be grounds for removal. If they go through that process and then they request a hearing, that hearing can go to oath.
Yeah.
And that can be decided by a third party.
Yeah, and the way that would happen is the board would be represented by DCAS at an oath hearing in this instance. So Sage.
One idea that's going to be part of the bylaws committee meeting on Monday is for the executive committee not to deal with attendance at all, but rather the board oversight committee. And that's something Nelson and I were talking about, and we'll discuss it more. But I do think it's complicated. and maybe the people who are appointed to the board oversight committee just be people who the chair of the board knows like have good attendance, and maybe are not going to cause any conflicts of interest or anything, because I think it is awkward. Like I have an attendance hearing tonight, and yet I'm like writing these rules.
Oh, it happens to everybody.
Well, the law also, the law does, in the past, they talked about like, what was the term, like subcommittee? There was, you did it with Marissa.
Our bylaws we can delegate another committee.
Something like that.
The same challenge though that we have here, right? And most people at this table have good attendance, most of the time. This is one of the better groups of attendance that you're gonna pull on the board. The executive committee, generally speaking, is the most committed group, I'm just gonna say it. The challenge, again, is just being able to remove people that you've worked with, that you've grown. It's not an unethical thing. It's just, it's hard. And it's always been that way. But a third party doesn't really care. Look at the facts. That's it. You make your case and that's it. When you go to court, the judge isn't your friend, right? It's somebody that's impartial, that's gonna make a decision based on facts. I just think we need a solution. We spend way too much time on this. We spend way too much time talking about how a board should operate than doing the work. We could save this hour we're about to spend more productively if we were to kind of delegate this out somewhere else. That's just my opinion. We can obviously have a more detailed discussion.
Yeah, well, what would the third party be? Who?
It would be from oath with the city. They would appoint, usually when you go to oath, which I've had to do, not for anything bad, there's a hearing officer and they'll hear your case and they'll make a decision based on that.
Yes, Eric.
So I feel like an important aspect of the attendance is when it starts to impact a committee's ability to have quorum.
Yes.
And I know the bylaws stipulate like that members are part of at least 2 committees. And I don't know if this is possible or if the bylaw committee considered this, but is an intermediate step like removing the person from the committee that they're on, so that committee can doesn't have to rely on them or coming as part of like the probationary period or something. Because as much as yes, people should be committed to the board and coming to all of their things, it rises to another level when you're preventing the people that are committed and coming like from doing the work.
So to respond to that, I can, both Nilsa and myself have had to face that reality and pull people off of the committee and reassign them to another committee for a litany of reasons, whether it's just they have a conflict on that Tuesday or they've just fallen off the face of the earth. And yes, we have had to resort to that. We are required to have to, and we have acted when it is risen to that level, to answer your question. And yes, Sage.
I just want to say there's some people who would love that solution because then they don't have to come to as many meetings. So I don't think it's.
They have to be on 2 though, that we've had to reassign.
You were saying.
Well, I thought you were suggesting that we change
removing
that.
them and then I guess, because I know that of the 2 requirement that they'd have to be reassigned to something else that they would then not go to and be marked absent from.
As immediate action.
Right, do you mean that, like, I guess, can that be done sooner rather than waiting as like a consequence of going through?
Yeah, well, we have taken action when it's at that 4 threshold and they, on that particular committee, said, we're pulling you off, we need to choose another committee because you've had a consistent problem. And I literally sat here and fired off the emails and CC'd those committee chairs and those individuals responded back, it's like, this is another committee item we'd love to serve on, and they show up. And so that's what has happened. Any other comments on this, Rosa?
Yeah, I think we, not to disclose anything, but we did that for one specific committee member and committed to another meeting. And then they were like, yes, show up to that meeting one time and then they couldn't. Life happens, and I think like if everyone is busy. Everyone is busy, everyone is working, everyone has kids, I get it, but I think like you as a member, as an adult, you know what, I'm getting busy, let me just get off or become a public member. We've said it numerous times, it's okay, no one is shaming you, we get busy, one day I'm here and maybe the next day, my child is sick, and I'm like, oh my gosh, but I'm here, you know what I mean, we're adults.
Definitely.
Okay, thank you, Rosa. Anything while it was indisposed that you want to highlight here from the attendance?
Oh, I can say names, I have.
Yes, please,
everyone's
let's go.
names. Okay. So, but I don't have, it's just the beginning, so we have like people with two absences in one one committee absence in each.
Okay.
Okay.
Just give us a quick update.
Okay.
Just
He's
quick.
no longer on the board.
I know, that's why I circled.
Go ahead.
Okay, so for EcoDev, right, we had no quorum. I believe Jose Altamirano was excused, Carolyn Percy was absent, Benetore was absent, Jenny Trumpsky was absent, Agatha.
Jenny was from Thompson.
Oh. Okay. Oh, she was absent.
I thought I sent you an email with no. Okay, never mind.
No.
It's fine. I'll check to see if it, anyway, I'll double check to make sure. I'll check my email.
We always find
Just
things.
flag, highlight it for me, please.
Makes a quorum problem.
Okay, carry on.
Agatha, White, Jason Wu, all of them were absent. For environmental space, we almost didn't have quorum, but we did, thank goodness. For housing, two members were absent, John Green and Jason Wu. For human services, three members were absent, Leslie Colon, which I believe was excused, Robin McGinty, I'm sorry, and Tanya Phelps. And then even if they were excused, still absent, land use.
Robin was out on human services?
Yeah.
She came, so.
Oh, double check the attendance.
She might have, okay, I know why she's not on attendance, because she came late enough.
Well, that's still, late arrival or something.
Yes.
So land use, both Jessica Elliott and Benny Torres were absent, licenses and permits, Carlos Diaz, Marina Phillips, and Anne-Marie Vasquez was absent. Public safety, Leslie Colon again, but this time she's absent. Wanda Hopkins, Kyoka Jackson, Carlene Percy, and then youth and education, Tanya Feld was absent. So we have a lot of absent.
All right, thank you, Rosa, for that. All right.
Excuse me,
We will keep
David,
a tab on
can I
that.
speak?
Say that again, John?
May I speak, please?
Yes, John.
Well, first of all, Adem, I want to apologize to you because for missing the meeting, but I've been in the hospital since August 30th. So the thing is that, but I should have called you earlier and to apologize.
You don't need to apologize. You don't need, you've been wonderful to me. You do not, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah,
But
you don't, thank you, John.
Thank you, but I don't need that apology.
No personal disclosure, John.
Well, I'm not gonna tell him what to disclose, but I'm just not, he doesn't need an apology.
John, we appreciate that. That was, you didn't, but thank you. And we know your heart is devoted to the board.
Yeah.
So thank you. Okay.
May I speak?
Any old business?
Michelle.
Hey, Michelle. Yes,
Hi,
you may speak. I didn't see your hand.
I did have my hand up earlier, but we almost passed by.
Okay.
I did want to touch on the thing of when a person is moved from one committee to another committee because they just did not have the passion in one committee. It's almost like they are a truant from one committee and then they're going to be a truant in another committee. It feels like we're getting a person that already has missed so many meetings and they're just going to continue missing more meetings. And are all these, second question or point, are all the people that have been missing meetings, not due to illness, being new members? Because there were a lot of people that seemed like they were missing meetings. How many new members have already missed both of their committee meetings?
Not in my committee.
Which one you're?
Thanks. Now Whitaker was president.
We have two.
He said new members.
Okay.
Those are all.
Current members, you know.
How many new members were there? That missed
Oh, only Jessica and Vinny didn't show up.
Okay.
Two members.
No, that's not the
Of
question.
the new members.
New members, no, they all show up.
Not on land use.
No, they're on your list.
They're on your list. That missed both committee meetings that they're on.
The
How many?
community board members.
Yes.
Okay, ask the question again, because everyone is speaking, I'm sorry.
How many new members have missed
New
both
members,
of their committees?
okay,
That was a question for Rochelle, if I heard it correctly.
I did not
Yes.
understand it, okay. So for EcoDev, Carlene Percy didn't show up to EcoDev and Public Safety. That's new,
And full boarding.
And full board?
Right, in full board, so, because I don't have yet the attendance for full board, I didn't bring it tonight. Leslie Colon also missed two, Human Services and, I know I said this one, right? Yeah, I'm trying to find where, and Public Safety, that's two. And then, Tanya Phelps, Human Services and Youth and Education.
Well, that was cool. Hold on, I'll see your hand, Jessica.
Let me see.
Of the new members, all right.
Marina Phillips missed her two committees on full board.
Right,
That's
the licenses and permits. And I'm trying to find which one is the other one. No, just one. I see Marina for licenses and permits only.
All right, that should answer your question, Michelle, for the most part. Jessica, you had a question, I'm gonna move this.
Yeah, I think it's relevant. There's a point in the process where vacancies can be filled, right, in the application process. And if our process is aligned with that process to be able to communicate and express the urgency so that those seats don't go unfilled, if there are clear sort of negligence in attendance, to make sure that our due process is set in motion in order to not miss a vote on being able to. That would take maybe a conversation with the Borough President's Office about appointments and what that timeline would look like, to sort of back into what our process is timeline-wise, to be able to make sure that we're taking effective action so that when seats are being filled and the board is being stacked by those who do that, all seats can be.
Michelle, one last question, we're gonna move the
This
agenda.
is a follow-up to the previous one. Since these individuals have already shown a pattern, I think a reach out to them to find out what is happening. Did they change their mind and no longer wish to be on the community board? Or is there a particular ailment? Something should, because if they've already changed their mind, then I would agree with what Jessica Morris has said, that we should choose to fill these spots immediately instead of waiting for the pattern to continue and quorum is not met in the committees that they are not attending.
Okay, thank you, Michelle. Rosa?
So, it is the first month, basically. September is like the first month, and if you miss both of your committee meetings, that's literally only one in each. I think I will continue to monitor it and see what happens by next month. And if they still do not show up to their own committee meetings, then, I'll give them a call.
Chair, and with all due respect, as a recommendation to leadership of this table, you can pick up your phone and call your members. I call all my members, every meeting.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you, Jason, I know. Thank you for echoing what we've had in many conversations, appreciate that. All right, moving along, thank you, everyone. Rosa, any old business? Any new business?
I don't have the second page.
For the agenda?
Right.
Should have been double-sided. No? Okay.
I mean, I don't think we're missing anything. We're going to executive.
There's no old business, there's no new business. We now will be moving into executive session.
Okay.
All right, so we can go to the hearing and address everything. So for those members of the public, thank you, Joyce, for being here. Executive session is for those, yes. Your
Motion going to executive.
Right. Yep. Hold on a second. Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. All right, it's for those members of executive committee and those members that are impacted. Now, we'll be having a hearing to deal with the due process for board member removal. And we had a motion by Jason Villanueva to enter the executive session, seconded by Rosa Diaz. All those in favor? Any opposed?
Or, do I have to present not voting or something?
No, you just say aye.
Let's just vote to go into executive.
Any abstentions? The motion carries. We will now enter into executive session. For those members of the public, we will, unfortunately, be concluding our meeting for this portion because this part is for the executive committee only and those members affected. Thank you very much and give us a moment while we transition.
Thank you.
If you close the door, I'm gonna die.
Asher is here, but is unable to unmute.
Yes, no, Asher has texted me. Thank you, Michelle. All right.
You cold?
No, we gotta do some.
He made you hot, but he messed with you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You know, at my age, this is an appropriate talk, you know? Guys making us hot. You're right, so you're right.
The over 50,
Thank
not
goodness
just that.
Oh, I just turned 40.
We'll now discuss, take a position on whether to remove the following members. We discussed, first up is Sage Mason. Is there a motion to remove? If not, then it will not carry. So we can say the two ways to do it. We motion to remove or we motion to maintain.
Motion to maintain.
Yeah.
Can I make a motion to maintain everyone who's here presenting?
Yes, you can make that if you so choose. So Isaac Scott moves to maintain the current membership. Lieu of Sage Mason, Loretta So, Minnie Torres, Jason Villanueva, Candy Vivas Vasquez, and Mike Whitaker. Is there a second?
Second the motion.
Seconded by Jessica Morris. Is there any debate on the matter? Okay. Seeing that there's no debate, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries.
President not voting.
I'm in favor.
What was that, Asher?
I said I'm in favor of the motion.
Thank you. And present not voting was Jason Villanueva and Sage Mason. The motion carries. With that, please call the roll.
Jose Altamirano.
Here.
Ellen Brina. Present. Rosa Diaz.
Present.
Jessica, that lady's absent. Sage Mason.
Present.
Elsa Rama.
Present.
Asher Rodriguez.
Present.
Xavier Santiago.
Present.
Isaac Scott. Present. Derek Stanhope.
Present.
Marie Vasquez is absent. Jason Villanueva.
Present.
Michelle Walter Clement.
Present.
And Jessica Morris.
We adjourned at 9:29 p.m. Thank you, everyone, for your patience.
Good evening, everyone.